Hi everyone, it's Kathie. Thanks so much for joining me. Today I'll be featuring the February 2018 Paper Pumpkin Kit, and this is alternate project number 3. And for today's video, I'm just going to share 2 more cards, and I'll have probably 1 or 2 more videos to round it out to 10 cards. All right, for the first card, I wasn't really pleased with the outcome, and you'll see what I mean because I don't know what I was thinking about. But I decided to just keep this portion of the card, and I'm just going to show you what I did here, and that's why I'm kind of starting off a little bit strange. So I have a white panel, and I just stamped the Celebrate sentiment on it, and I didn't really like it, so I flipped it over, and that was kind of a happy accident. And I'll explain that afterwards. So this next part here, I'm just embossing the big time sentiment with white embossing powder just to get that ready. And now for the scoring. So see how I have Celebrate on both sides? So this kind of worked out all right. I want to emboss the right side. So having the mistake on the other side kind of helped out. I'm basically scoring 1/2 inch across, so I just kind of counted 3 ticks across and then scored, and now I'm just flipping it over to the right side and see how it's nicely embossed. Anyway, I thought it just add a little something extra to this card, and now I'm just sticking on a little narrow piece of black cardstock just to give it a little additional accent. And then here's this awful card. I don't know. And I even thought if I cut 1/8 off the bottom, it would even help. All right, all kidding aside, I'm just finishing off the top part of the sentiment. So I did foam tape it, and then I decided against that. So I removed it and just stuck it down flat onto the panel there. And I later on did remove those little vellum pieces too. And those enamel dots is from the last month's Paper Pumpkin Kit, and they're actually really pretty. So I thought I'd just use it for this card, and I did leave those on there. So there's that card. I had it all assembled, and then I decided that it was just horrid. And now I'm going to create something to go over top of that bottom part, which I was going to make a separate card, but I decided that this would actually go well to cover up that bottom part. So I did start off with Tempting Turquoise. I shaded the top part, and then Lemon Lime Twist, I just shaded kind of the center and then faded it as I went down because you want that light part at the bottom there. And then on the side of the blending tool, I just kind of swiped it a few times across the Lemon Lime Twist there to get some darker streak colors, which is a little bit of detailing for the pawn area. And now with that straight stamp, I just slightly curved it on my block there, and then I'm going to stamp across with black ink. So I started off with long, I'm going to call them stems. I start off with long stems all the way across the panel, and I just made sure that I angled it in different directions as I stamped, and then I went with medium length and then shorter length. And then once you feel that you have stamped enough, then we'll just move on to the next part, and I think that looks nice and full at the bottom now. And I'm just swiping again to add back the highlights there, the darker details. And then with a black Stampin' Write marker, I'm just adding in those long parts of the bulrushes. I thought this is so easy to do. I really like how it turned out. So basically I just kind of added all of the little strokes, I guess, to create the bulrushes, and then I did go back in and fatten up some of the ones to make it show like they're in the front, and then I left the ones in the back nice and small, so it just adds a bit of dimension. Now with Wild Wasabi, I'm just shading a little bit on the side and then just a little bit on the bottom. Don't go up too high. And then with Pacific Point, I'm just shading the top of the panel just to darken it up a bit. And I think that looks so much better. And now we'll just cover that up and you wouldn't know the wiser. All right, here's a couple of stills of the finished card. And it was so easy to make, right? All right, we're going to move on to the last card. And this one, I was being super careful making this. It kind of takes a bit of planning because you're kind of creating a, array or spray of flowers from scratch. And so here's the finished card. I do like how it turned out though. All right, we're gonna stamp the sentiment first. I decided I'm gonna do that. And just let you know, I did create one earlier and I used a teeny tiny stamp and I didn't like it. So I figured I'll use this stamp instead because it's got bigger flowers. And I know the kit it's a nice kit and it has flowers finally, but I could have used flowers that were just a teensy weensy bit bigger. Okay, for the one on the top arrangement, I just stamped it 4 times and then 2 next to the U word. And now I'm just coloring in the leaves. And then there's a part there in that arrangement that doesn't really look like leaves. I just made them look like leaves. So just create them. They're teeny tiny. You'll be able to get away with it. And then I dotted each leaf with garden green and then went back with lemon lime twist just to blend it all together, just to give that extra highlight there. And then each flower was colored in with powdered pink. And then I went in with melon mambo to add in the centers. And then I added the veins for the flowers. And then I did go back in just to give it that extra punch of color, which I thought looked so much better afterwards. Okay, and then now I'm going to plan out the branches, but I decided I needed a couple more flowers here and there for this arrangement. And because that last flower there is pretty teeny tiny, I just kind of hand drew it in myself. And now I'm just drawing in the little branches, and I decided these ones are going to be a little bit thin and not too thick. And I just thought I'd draw one more there. And this last flower, I decided to just stamp it because I needed a medium-sized flower and I wanted the branch to kind of go in a different direction other than those other ones. And then here's where I'm kind of thinking and planning, and I decided that I do need a full arrangement at the top there and one single one further down. And I did color them all in again, or the ones that I just stamped. And then now I'm just drawing in my branches. And I am doing this really slow, even though I've sped up the footage there. And I'm just hand drawing in one tiny little flower. Now in the center of this arrangement, I forgot to add the branch for that one. And I do end up doing that off screen, and you'll see that when I show you the stills. All right, and so now we're done, and I'm just adding a little bit of shading on the opposite corners. And then I did throw on the sentiment. I foam taped that, and then the enamel dots from last month's kit. And I stuck it onto a top folding card base. And then here are the stills. And there's that branch in the center there that I mentioned. I filled that in off screen. I really like how it turned out though. All right, that's it for today's video. Thanks so much for joining me, and stick around. I do have a couple of more cards that I'm going to be sharing with you. Bye for now.